I never dreamed that I was somebody like you. I never dreamed that I was somebody like you. The waterfall, only girl is breaking your heart. The waterfall, only girl is breaking your heart. To do, make me dream of you. Good thing to say. I never felt this way. Good thing to do, make me dream of you. And I falling. Only good is breaking your heart. So fall in love. Only girl is breaking your heart. Tuesday Music Headlines October 7th. Album from Boston People's St. Robert's Club. Sharon Osbourne. I mean, all due respect her, she's really have been kind of like a person, kind of like not saying anything that's controversial. You know, she's always kind of said how she always says her, you know, all that. But she says that she wonders why Harvey Weinstein, those who know who Harvey Weinstein is, this very controversial movie, mogul movie producer that's really pub. I'm not. I've never followed Harvey Weinstein's movie work, but from what I heard, he put that. I mean, him being center of everything. There's a lot of great movies that came out from his production and all that. And now that Harvey Weinstein's kind of been blackballed by the movie, the movie world and all that. But Sharon Osbourne has really never made she's also like a manager of Ozzy Osbourne, but he worked with his great producers, Brett Paul Blaze, and Unconsequential Comedies, and teaching Osbourne, which is good. Cleveland's Paul Johnson accusing Breeze of misconduct over years. Osbourne has 3 children with Oz, so it's like things that are probably part of these tickets around me. But you think about your years because the time of living around you lose that. Giving up your publicity and then tragedy. Because the thing about Harvey Weinstein, like, yeah, he's controversial to a T, but if he would like never did anything wrong, because Sharon Ross was if anybody touches her, she'll and it'd be hard for him to be sleeping with the fishes. And that's what it was. Yeah. All minds in there. He was also intelligent cat and now for Pierce got a very well cat. Sorry, Richard Japanese television loud was released in New York by the Glory Jerry Twist. Next year, new music in Japan about 2027 rise again. Wild. Legendary King history recorded over in 2018 with Cloud with the Mel Channel and that concept album. If you Saxon, British religious Saxon music, your second next year, to the borders, some of the beautiful background, and Steve works with Jewish priests and could accept the testimony. Previous video I did track and circle doom. According to Pulse Radio, more than 6 people forced through show Saturday night. The very some quarter gave by the John Badgers. I'm gonna let you guys know tomorrow podcast I'm gonna be talking about this story. That's tomorrow. We toss over 6 people for different heard this is 100% the past policy for tour so this policy. Policy to original Sam Radio features all 3 original either in the skies or Charlie Radio. Here is your tour providers and registered influence of policy protection. That show lasts a broken feature period of monitors posted around the very secure area of Charlie policy. This will not mean it still comes to town and starts to like I said, tomorrow night's podcast, I'm going to talk about this story. One of the things that irks me. Corey Taylor gets the new Alex Night Live and so guessing this was from the beginning. I'm sitting here at House's philosophy with John rock band in the back. It's 26 February. That's why I watching the show. Members attested to the exit designated for removing violence and behavior. Sorry. When you think of female guitars in rock and roll music, Nina Strauss really is like a a 10. Because Nia Strauss, the one thing I like about it is when you see a female guitarist in a band just shredding on guitar. That just makes your night perfect. But Nia Strauss, like, holy unashamed. Their recipients of all Chris of three bands. Basic, just actually 6 inches Nikki 6, Nia Strauss, first record, last group. So we moved all through we started Wars. I was so excited. It's cool to go out to form I've been a hired good guitar player for so long. I love very heavy songs. I love right reasons. Good female bands. There's been a lot of good female bands who talk about the Runaways, Heart, Dogs, Kitty, Vixen, there's her technique, her soul, and last on bass. That's what she can do. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you because you're a girl, you can't do it. People that tell you the bands that attitude. You push yourself. I can tell you nothing, push yourself please. The keyboard music, there's a need to college and concern with a huge prospect of music opportunity, lots of witness out here. There's an extremely to hear music telling you right here. On one time, it was a super high level of music. This reason both kinds of receivers efficiently unless you read a lot of bass unit creation vocals the vocals to guitar cat's ground tone keyboards with drums.
It's 6 cents. Nikki 6 cents. I'm here with Jen. Nita Strauss is hanging out with us. Hey, what's happening?
What up, what up?
You're finally in the studio.
I'm finally in the studio. We're doing this finally from a real studio and not a tiny metal trailer in the middle of a hurricane. Do you remember the first time I was on the show in Florida?
Yeah, we did that. We'd all roll out of our bunks. We'd have eye boogers. We'd just be leaning on the mic, half asleep.
Yeah.
It's a lot better here.
It's nice here in sunny SoCal.
Sunny SoCal. So you just flew in from
10 minutes?
Yeah, I've been home for about 45 minutes. That's good. I had to spend 45 minutes in traffic getting 8 miles here. So now I know I'm home. Yeah.
Where do you fly in from?
Brussels.
Brussels.
Yeah.
You guys with Alice Cooper Band. I mean,
we've been working.
I saw something the other day. It was this is the 44th show, and I'm 44 shows already?
Yeah. This is what I love, that Tommy Henriksen, our guitar player, he keeps count of every show.
Yeah.
And it's kind of very grounding in a way now, because he does it on Instagram every day. Hey kids, here it is. It's show number. And I was like, has it really only been 44? Because it feels like 444.
Yeah. But Europe's hard to tour in, right?
Yeah, we had an interesting schedule this time because we went some really new places. We went all the way up to literally in the Arctic Circle up at the top of Norway, so it never got dark and all. It's really interesting. Yeah. But I had never been that far north, and I think never had Coop actually. We hadn't been that far up there, so we're in a whole different time zone. 10 hours ahead of LA when it's usually 9, and all this mishmash. So
sometimes you even hit half time zones.
Yeah.
You get up in
We
weird
got
places.
one of those in Canada with you guys.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's always.
So how many shows are you guys going to do this year, do you think?
We usually average a couple, like 200, 250 shows a year.
You guys are animals.
Yeah, and then, and Alice now with the new record out and with the Vampires, I mean, he doesn't stop. We go home for 10 days. I usually don't go home because I have guitar clinics and stuff, but he's also 40 years older than me.
Yeah.
Like I don't go home, and we're the only two that stay out on the road, and he stays out doing promotion, doing interviews, and TV tapings and all this stuff. I'm going, man, and he still golfs every day. He still finds time to golf.
He has to.
He loves it. I pulled off the road in December. So what's that? How many? 8 months ago. I can't keep track. It's my job not to know the date.
I know.
So I don't know if I can ever go back now because I've never been gone this long.
Right.
So be careful.
How is it?
I have a lot of Hawaiian shirts. You should go.
Right.
I started smoking cigars, which I don't even like cigars.
Did you really start smoking cigars?
It's a
I took up
problem,
open tuning. I'm looking
Oh
for.
no!
Yeah, I'm looking for a
What's
dobro.
going on?
I've learned some great Hawaiian songs.
Do you have a ukulele yet?
I don't. I'm thinking
Okay.
of that. I don't know
We're
if they
gonna
have
have
any
to fix
vintage ones. You
Yeah.
go to
Go down
North
to North
Guitars,
to
pay
get a vintage ukulele.
$800,000 for a vintage ukulele.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah,
bring
so
more
it's
back from
interesting.
Chefs.
I just put shoes on
Told him he
today.
was turning into chef.
Yeah.
You are.
Except actually playing the music.
Yeah, and I have hair.
Yes.
Let's see what else. I just put shoes on for the first time the other day.
What about linen pants?
I'm not going to linen
Not
pants.
yet?
My pants are still really tight.
Okay.
That's probably because of a constant flow of ice cream bars. And yeah.
Wow,
So-
now that you look back on it, you really have changed in
Yeah.
9 months.
Well, my wife said to me, she goes, so when is this phase going to be over? Which means I need to get back on the road. So maybe
Right.
you guys need 2 bass players.
Hey, I'm sure Chuck would be happy to hand over his bass
Just
anytime at all.
sit in a little bit. I wanted to come up and jam with you guys when you guys are at the Greek.
You have to. Why
Well,
not?
I kind of only have one arm right now.
Oh, that's right.
So
That
unfortunately.
whole thing.
But since you're going to be on the road so much, I'll just
Yeah.
hit you
Just hop on over.
next time you come by.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk about some of the stuff that's going on with you. You're very inspirational. I have to tell a story about Anita, and we wanted to go out and do some 6 a.m. stuff, and DJ was still doing the kind of the Guns N' Roses thing, and he didn't know if he was going to be able to get out of it. His thought was if he goes out on the road and we had 19 shows that he'd get fired. So it was stressful. We wanted to go out, and I talked to Anita, and I didn't really know you. I was like, hey, do you think you'd be interested in coming out and doing some shows? And it just happened because Alice Cooper and Motley were on tour together. When we were off, you would be off,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So she comes up on the bus, talks to me for a few minutes. She's like, yeah, sure, cool. I see her the next day, and I was like, so did you listen to everything? She already, well, this is what you told me. I know the whole catalog. And I was like, I still don't know the whole catalog.
No, you said there was one. You said there's some guitar parts that might be challenging in the newer stuff, and he
Yes.
sent it to me, and I learned it that night. So he walked by the next day, walked by the dressing room, and said, "Hey, did you have a chance to listen to that stuff?" I said, "Oh, is it something like this?"
Yeah.
And I played it.
But I love that. And I think that's a big part of why you're successful and going to be successful for a long time, is because you're just really a go-getter and you have a positive attitude, and it comes through and you're playing.
Thank you.
Talk to me a little bit about We Start Wars, because I've been following you online and stuff.
I'm so excited. It's cool to be out there performing my own music. I've been a hired gun guitar player for so long. And music, I love, writing heavy stuff. I love writing riffs, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I always felt like there was a lack of really good musicianship in all-female bands. There's been a lot of great all-female bands and a great, you talk about the Runaways and Hard and the Donnas and Kitty and Vixen and what have you, but you don't really see super technique. You don't hear great
Why
guitar
do you think
solos,
that is?
fast double bass. I don't know.
Because it's
really
not
couldn't
like
tell
because you're a girl, you
it's not
can't
because
play,
you're a girl, you
obviously.
can't do it.
Yeah.
And I will say, I think as a female musician, people tend to, it's there's a lot easier road to just go, oh, she's a chick, she can, she can just go and bang out some stuff on the guitar and have attitude and it's enough. And people will tell you it's enough. You have to have that drive yourself to push yourself over that hump and be like, no, it's not enough. I want to do guitar solos, I want to do fast double bass. We have a keyboard player that went to Berklee School of Music. This singer that I have has this huge rock range and can sing like anything from like opera to like really great rock stuff. And so when I put this lineup together, the other guitar player plays an 8-string, like super genty, heavy, like crazy tight right hand. I wanted to find musicians that just have super high level of musicianship. So you can have it because it exists. There's no reason not to put us all in a band together.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I did with We Start Wars.
Yeah. What's the recording process like for you guys?
I've actually been doing everything myself, which is it's what I'm used to, but I've never recorded like a full band. Usually it's just me and programming the drums and doing that kind of stuff. So I actually ended up going out and buying vocal mics and buying, foam and baffling, and we did it in my living room. We recorded.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we recorded the whole, the first single, The Animal Inside, is out on iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff now. And we recorded the entire thing.
Do you use Logic or Pro Tools?
Pro Tools.
Pro Tools, cool.
Yeah, and I had people saying, oh, I was reaching out to producers, reaching out to people, and we were kind of on a time crunch because Alice is going to be gone all year. And finally, I was like, you know what? No one's going to help me out. I'll just do it. I'll do the whole thing. And the band really, like, we produced it ourselves. Everybody pitched in. The keyboard players, a whiz with harmonies and arrangements and stuff, and we just banged it out together at my house.
Which is a whole other level. People don't realize, but you can learn your instrument, and then you can learn more about your instrument. That you never quit learning about that. But this the recording process. I'm not very good at it.
Right.
I've always had producers and engineers around me, and I'm starting to get into it since I'm home all the time, and it's really enjoyable process. There's so much to learn.
I like it, and I've had my own studio set up, I think since I was like 20, like 10 years now, like, because I've always had a lot of session work, video games and guest solos and this kind of stuff, and it was ending up costing me as much as I was making to go into a studio and record it and send it in. So I'm going, well, wait a second, I'm getting paid $200 for this. I got to go pay this guy $150 to use his studio and send it in. So, why don't I just take this money and invest it in a Pro Tools right now? And I just got into it, and you have time on the bus, so I started learning how to program.
Well, Matson says that you pretend to shoot things are done, so it's one yeah, I definitely think Graham Matson didn't give him anything that wrong. He was just like, according to Los Angeles Times, 70% of your hours should not do it. 3.299 million of our van from Project 10 returning to the accommodation. Since the restaurant kind of covered the soup and stuff, I was next was going to be in the studio for Christopher's music.